Badgers. Thanks, Lindsay. Let's bring in our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, and former Yale University Assistant Director of Admissions, Susan Shiflett. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Susan, let's start with you. Let's just go down the list of some of the things that are alleged here. People said they were minority students. They weren't. They said they had disabilities. They didn't. They said they played sports that they never actually played. How is this even possible? Do admissions offices check these things?
Sure. So I think what's most surprising in this situation is really the scandal surrounding the athletics, because as an admissions officer, when I was at Yale, we would get a list from the coaches from the athletics department saying, hey, these are our top recruits. That admissions officers, we take at face value. I don't know if you're rowing, if you need a coxswain, if you need a rower. I don't know. I would never think that somebody at the top of the list for soccer has never touched a soccer ball.
This Yale coach has been implicated in all this. There was no way, if you were at Yale at the time, you would have known that what he was sending you was fake.
That's right. I think some other things on students' applications we'll take with a grain of salt and maybe sometimes go online and check. But with sports, we assume that the coach is the one who's serving as the filter. So that's very disturbing.
One of the things that we're hearing a lot from this morning, or I should say the groups of people that we're hearing a lot from this morning, are students of color who say that the spotlight for so long has been unfairly placed on them in this debate over affirmative action. And a lot of people feel like, that they've had to defend earning a spot, when in fact we're saying it's the wealthy kids who maybe got in unjustly. What would you say to some of those students?
I think it's very unfortunate, absolutely. And I think there has been increasingly more discussion around affirmative action and issues of race. But I think this is sort of to a new level where it's an outright scam. And it is unfortunate that somebody took a spot of another very qualified student.
So do you think we're going to see, Dan, possibly some of those students who think they were denied? So we've seen that in affirmative action cases, students who thought they were denied places starting class action suits. How about in this case?
Yeah, I would expect there'll be some form of lawsuits here against both the universities, possibly the people involved. The typical plaintiffs here would be people who are waitlisted at these schools saying, look, that would have been my spot. I could have gotten in. The problem is going to be damages, right? Because you're going to look at these people and you're going to say, what are they doing now? Oh, well, they went to another school, or they're doing pretty well in life. And so you say to yourself, okay, so what did they actually suffer as a result of this? And this goes back to the Wisconsin Badgers thing, which is people do really well, even if they don't go to this particular school or that particular school. And so from a legal perspective, the damages then become an issue.
But maybe what you could see is what's similar to what you've seen in affirmative action cases, people suing for changes in the way admissions are done.
Absolutely. But when you talk about changes, you have to say what changes, and Susan could probably talk about this better than me, what changes could actually be effectuated which would prevent something like this from happening? It seems to me the only one that I can immediately think of is following, when it comes to the athletics, is making sure that people who were admitted based on athletic ability are actually followed during their career.
And holding then those coaches responsible.
Exactly.
That's right.
So it seems to me that's the kind of change that could be effectuated, but suing over that, I don't know if that's going to be the course. This has sent a huge message to colleges and universities and parents. I can tell you, I'm sure there are a lot of wealthy parents who are going to think twice about how they're getting their kids into college.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to change the way colleges do their admissions?
I think that in admissions offices all over the country, it's been a real day of reckoning, and they're having to rethink the process or even the quality control. So I think it's something that we'll just have to see, but a lot of internal discussions, I'm sure, are being had.
Soul searching. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Well, now to embattled actor